Most people think a record is just a beat with the vocal on top. It's not. And I'm gonna show you why. I got a real session here of a track that I produced for an artist called O Pedro. Go check his profile in the description. I will do a full breakdown and explain all the process from creating the beat, vocal production, arrangement, and mix and master. Whether you are a beatmaker that want to step up as a producer or an artist that want to produce themselves, there is a ton of information here that I'm going to share. So stick with me. Here a quick preview of the track.
Subindo pra descalço esse par. Só nós dois se amando de frente pro lago. E se a gente for?
Also, I ran a little experiment with audio example to illustrate what is the main message of this video. Try to emulate the best I can 3 artists in different situations. The first one, an artist licensed a beat on BeatStar and record his vocal. The second one, same version, but he decided to hire a mix engineer. And the third one, the actual final record built by a producer, start to finish. You're gonna hear all 3 back to back. So this is the beat and the lead vocal only unmixed.
Subindo pra lá, descalço esse par. Só nós dois se amando de frente pro lago. E se a gente for?
Okay, cool, sounds pretty raw right now. Let's listen. You mixed the vocal and the beat.
Subindo pra lá, descalço esse par. Só nós dois se amando de frente pro lago.
Let me switch back from the unmixed and the mixed version for you right now.
Subindo pra lá, descalço esse par. Só nós dois se amando de frente pro lago. E se a gente for pra outro lugar? Simplicidade, amor.
Sounds better, but it's still missing something. But right now, let's listen to the full produced track, where I help the artist lay down multiple vocal layers.
Subindo pra lá, descalço esse par. Só nós dois se amando de frente pro lago. E se a gente for pra outro lugar? Simplicidade, amor. Só nós dois se amando de frente e de lado. É tudo que eu queria. A gente cara a cara numa ilha ao meio do nada, enquanto o tempo passava bem longe.
So you can see that, yes, the mix and master enhance the sound, but there is a ton of work to do that can bring the track to another level. So many artists think that what's missing in the track is just the mix and mastering. But when I listen to that track, it's actually other part that need to work. Here's a quick graphic that represents what I mean. This, in my opinion, represents the work that goes into making a great record, but also the impact each step has on the final result. First, the instrumental, that gives you the whole sonic world. It is super important, especially to have a custom that fits your needs. Then, to me, the most important is the whole production, including recording, vocal production, arrangements, removing some layer here and there to make a final track. And then, obviously, the mix and mastering enable you to add weight to your track and also sounds good across different systems. And in order to have a release-ready track, you need to go through those 3 steps. But enough talking. My name is Sam, producing hip-hop and R&B artist. I've been producing since the last 15 years, and I'm gonna show you all my secret now. So first, I'm going to show you my high-level structure. I recently moved to Studio One Pro, or Studio Pro, whatever you want to call it, but I've been Ableton user since the last 10 years, so you can replicate this in any DAW. So first, we have a mix bus when I put all my mastering chain. Then 2 bus going to this mix bus is the beat and the main vocal. This is really important for me because I can adjust always the weight between the beat and the vocal. And then we get the reference file, a must-have for the production but also the mix. Inside the beat we have the drum, SFX, bass, Vox, and instruments. And inside the main vocal we get the leads, the throw, the background vocal, and the fill, and always one channel to record. I will explain this later. So I'll start to show you the production and explain the mixing process. For this track, the artist give me this reference.
te boto na onda, eu te faço sorrir. Segura minha mão, senta pouquinho. Esse cara nunca fez por merecer.
So it's definitely a blend between Brazilian funk and R&B, which I love. I think it's a great way for an artist to step up and be unique and different. And I think drums in general really dictate which genre you produce in. I studied the drum pattern of Brazilian funk and I try to emulate there with a kick and snare first. I had a stomp to bring a stadium effect to the track. And then I add like this signature of the Brazilian funk sounds. With more vox here. But the artist didn't want it to be really forward, so I put some effects here to make it more backward. Then I add percussion. I take some loops and one shot, chop them, and making like a nice rhythm and a nice movement behind those kick and snare. I think as a beatmaker, as an artist, you should not be hesitant to use loops. You don't need to use the whole loops because a lot of producers will use them and you end up with a track that have some similarity with other track, but you can chop them to just get the groove and you can put them in your track so it becomes unique. I add more drum fill to get more movement during the second hook. Next, SFX for transition, but also to add depth to the track. We have a sweep here. We got razor. I like to put like a silence here, so it creates like an anticipation. We have a down lifter, and this is less for transition, but more to add something in the background. This was more SFX. Down riser. Cool, so the SFX plus the drum. Let's move into bass. So as you can see, there is 2 bass in the track. I love to do that when it's appropriate. And for picking the right sound for the 808, I listen the reference track. So it's really a distorting, nasty 808 here. I think throughout the process, I actually swap the bass, and that's something that I see myself doing. I choose one 808 or one drums, and then somehow, instead of finding this at the mix stage, I prefer like change my sound selection. I did start with a different 808 at the beginning of the project, then swap in the middle to a new 808 that was sounding better. The other track here is the same 808. It's more in the mixing area to make sure that the 808 cut through iPhone speaker. I will show you that later in the mix. And then the second bass here, I use key bass for that, simple sub bass. So yeah, that's pretty much the bass. Let's listen all together now. Bass, FX, and drum. Let's move on to Vox. So here, I think it's the same philosophy of percussion. I love to take loops of vocal and chop them, just to add a feel, not something that is forefront into the mix. It's really background to add, again, texture, movement into the track. My point is feel free to use sample. I use sample from Splice, but also make sure to tweak them. Either one shot like this. This was from a loop, I think, that I reverse. I put some creative effect on it. This is from a loop as well. This loop I've been overused as an example. I heard it in a lot of tracks, so I made sure that I chopped and it's not really present in the mix. It's just adding texture. That's the only role. And generally speaking, when you add layer to a track, you always need to think what role is gonna play. There is this one as well. Super simple. It adds this Brazilian funk vibe. What I do often, I record my own vocal. It's not gonna sound good on his own, but he add depth to the track as well. And I record this while the artist doing some vocal warm-up before, so the creation is not something linear. You can add to the track while you're creating. Let's listen to everything: drums, SFX, bass, and Vox. At this point, we already have like a nice forefront rhythm and a lot of ear candy here and there. I show you in this order, but I believe that I start the track with the instrument. Let's dive into it. I'll start the track with this chord progression. And I layer other instrument like another pad with this synth. So let me touch on the layering here. You need to layer like either instrument or snare and percussion. That really brings depth to your track and also uniqueness. You need to know how to do it. And this is a great example to show you. Don't want to layer two instruments that are playing the same frequency range. You might cause issue later in the mix. But also you don't want to layer two instruments that have the same envelope. So always layer two sounds that complement each other. In this case, the first one and then the second one you can see on the waveform have no attack, so it doesn't compete with the first layer, and then have a better sustain. Those two layers complete each other. Let's listen just the second layer for now. And then I add the first layer. But I felt this chord progression was more on the pop side, I will say. I wanted to add more R&B or neo-soul vibe to the track. So I come up with a different chord progression that I play with some electric piano. Way more jazzier with some 7th and 9th chord, with diminished chord as well at the end. And I will make a whole video on chord progression soon. So I took another pad, split all the chord and reversed it. On its own, it sounds like this. And with the rod. And honestly, that's pretty much it. I add the leads here. And later on, I just add more layers to make the track progress. And what you can see here is me arranging the beat around the vocal. The vocal needed attention, and I actually cut everything here to bring some excitement. When we record everything, the artist decided we can add a guitar, and I think that was a good idea. Not to be forefront, but to just give more movement, more organic texture. So we add some for the intro. There is this arpeggio here in the hook. Super simple, and you barely hear in the mix, but it brings movement. In the hook, he did some chord progression. Just the squeak of the guitar brings this organic vibe. Until now, it was really like synthetic, and I really like that we add like some acoustic guitar. That's pretty much all the layer I add, and I'm gonna tell you why. It's because I create the beat while I record the vocal at the same time. That's something that a lot of beatmaker do. The beat sounds good on his own, but there is no space for the vocal. And when you try to record your vocal on this, somehow it doesn't fit. And when you go to a mix engineer, either he's nice and he's gonna arrange and remove some layer or turn down a lot without telling you, or he's not going to touch anything and trying to fight this in the mix, where the problem was there is too much layer in the same frequency range of the vocal. And this is called arrangement. It's in between beat creation and mix and master. Remember the graph at the beginning. And that's the reason why you should hire a producer, to be able to arrange the instrumental around your vocal, or to create an instrumental around your vocal. That is going to make a big difference in your outcome. So let's listen everything together. The drum, the SFX, bass, vox, and instruments. So you can hear, it is complex. There is a lot of layer already, but there is still some space for the vocal to sit. So let's move to vocal right now. It's a big part of this track. The main vocal bus, you can find a track to rec. The bus for leads. We got the throw, I can explain it later how it works. We got the background vocal there. As you can see, there is a lot of it in this track. And you get the fill, that can be called ad-lib as well. So quickly, I want to explain something about this template. I have a rec channel. It's made to record all the take. You can see all the take out there. So we can comp the best take. And once we're happy with the recording vocal, you can drag it when it needs to be, either in the leads or either in the harmony or every other channel. I always keep this process because first, it helped me to keep my take in the same place. If we record like a lead, then I will put it into the lead. If we record back vocal, then I drag directly the take into the background vocal, and it's gonna sound like a background vocal because it's already mixed. So I can already start to do some vocal production during recording. I will share this template pretty soon. Comment if you want it. For the lead bus here, as you can see, there is many tracks. They are not there to be layered. I have many tracks because sometimes there is overlap in between take, and I don't want to do crossfade. I usually also have track for the hook and for the leads. If I need to process them differently, I can. So listen the leads.
Se a gente for subindo pra lá, descalço esse pá.
Before going to mix and how I process the vocal here, I would like to touch on something that is really important. And not all mix and mastering engineer will do that work, and the beatmaker will be too early in the process to do it as well. It's editing, and it's really important for consistent level, cutting like noise, timing, and tuning the vocal. But I would like to show you something that I do during editing, usually take care during mixing, is DSing. Everybody think that you need to handle S's with a DSer, but I'm going to show you another way. Generally, if you push a DSer too far, you're starting to get artifact, and S's sounded like sh, off. With this method, you have way more power to tame the S's without changing the sound. And for this, I use repitch.
Só nós dois se amando de frente pro lago.
So it's usually a software to tune your vocal, and I do it in this case when I feel it's really off and I don't want like the auto-tune doing all the job. But you can also turn down the volume on each syllable. We have a S here, and I can just turn it down.
Só nós dois se amando.
And boom, no S's anymore. This is enable me to, later in the mix, make the vocal brighter without sounding harsh. There is the other one here.
Só nós dois se amando de frente pro lago.
Sounds way better. Listen without.
Só nós dois se amando.
With.
Só nós dois se amando de.
This has been a game changer for me because SS is really hard. You want to make your vocal bright, and then you just hear like, especially when you layer vocal, you want to do that also on background vocal and all the vocal basically in the track. But it is time consuming because you need to do it for every clip, and you can see everything that there is the little effects here. I did it. I do it when it's needed. There is a lot of S's in the Portuguese language, so that's pretty much the lead. I will come back to the mixing later. Let's go to the background vocal, and I want to zoom out a bit. I want to touch on something important. Background vocal is super nice. It brings 3D to your vocal. It's a challenge for artists usually to do. Some artists know how to create harmonies. Some other needs guidance, and also can help artists that need guidance on what pitch and what melody and what harmony to sing. But what's important is you need to create contrast. If you add harmonies all over the track, then you don't create contrast, and it's gonna be always this wall of vocal there, and it's not going to do the desired effects that we want the harmony to do. Usually the harmony comes to the hook, but again, rules are meant to be broken, right? So you can do harmonies during the verse and create a hook that is more intimate when there is only the leads. But in this track, definitely more harmonies during the hook, but sometimes add harmonies during the verse just to create dynamic into the overall track. So let's listen to that on his own right now, without the lead. Let's listen just the low one. So something that I want to explain here, I have two tracks that is pan left and right. I have the mid harmony left right and the low harmony left right. Later in the track, we have other harmony. More harmony in the high register. Damn, O Pedro is really good at wide register and can go really high and can go really low as well, so it's really nice to work with him. And then in the hook, that's where we stack up a lot of harmony. Let's listen all the harmony together without the lead first. With the lead now. Nós dois se amando de frente pro lago. E se a gente for pra outro lugar? Simplicidade, amor. With the old beat right now. Nós dois se amando de frente pro lago. E se a gente for pra outro lugar? Simplicidade, amor. So let's see the feel right now, and I will go back to other verses from the main vocal. Feel is really recorded in between when there is no background vocal or no lead, or is made to enhance the lead or the background vocal. So let's listen some feel right now. In this context here. So I usually going really creative on the panning and, you know, put them in a specific space. So here there is a panning automation. And then finally the throw, and this is something that I do during vocal production. There is many ways to do that. The other way will be doing a lot of automation on the auxiliary channel, but I prefer that way, give me more control. Basically what it is, I put some reverb and DD, but 100% wet. So you don't hear the dry signal, you only hear the wet signal. Take some word or sentence from the lead or the background vocal, either sometime from the fill, drag it into this channel, so it creates really a texture and fill the space. Usually I have like 1/4 delay and a really long verb. Maybe let's listen on that one right now. It's really similar work that I do in the Vox channel on the beat. I used the vocal of the artist as an instrument here to really bring some 3D around the vocal. Let's listen with the leads.
Subindo pra lá, descalço esse pá. Se a gente for pra outro lugar, simplicidade, amor.
And with all the vocal,
subindo pra lá, descalço esse pá. Só nós dois se amando de frente pro lago. E se a gente for pra outro lugar, simplicidade, amor. Só nós dois.
and this is in downplay, so I can try live during the recording and already produce the vocal while I'm recording, so the artist can feel the vibe and we can trigger other idea. So what we see so far is basically beat creation, arrangement, vocal production, and this is something that a producer will do for you. As you can see, there is a lot of work, and because I don't want this video to be too long, I will show you the mix and master process in a different video. I wanted to show you how important it is to, you know, collab with a producer. Sometimes most of the art is going to get a beat, but there is the whole process of making a song in between that is really important to do, and sometimes this is lacking on track that I hear from artists. So if you got a demo that's just sitting on your iPhone right now and it's not hitting the way you want, then it's probably not only you mix but the production. So my job is to help hip-hop and R&B artists to create a track like this start to finish in 10 days. I will put the link below so you can apply and we can make a track together. And if you are a producer, want to step up and starting to produce artists, then feel free to ask questions in the comments, like and subscribe this video. I will do way more breakdown like this. Thank you and see you in the next video.